Well, I've always, like me and my family have always grown up in the church, but at the same time, growing up in the church, I never really got anything out of it. I went to church because it was a family church. So every time the sermon, the pastor would preach, I would never get anything out of it. It would go in one ear and out the other, kind of just like being a safe Christian. My dad was diagnosed with cancer like my freshman year. And a lot of people don't know that. I always keep things to myself. I am the oldest out of 7, so I have 6 younger brothers and sisters. And then eventually, while I was away at school, things at home kind of got worse because my mom was really stressed. And my siblings that were in school stopped going to school, and my mom was kind of like homeschooling them. I did good in my classes, but I also was a party girl. I had a party lifestyle. I felt like I was a Christian, just because I believed there was a God, and I felt like I was a Christian because I read my Bible every now and then, but that didn't really make me a Christian because my actions did not show that. My actions did not line up to His word to me as a believer. I came to realization my last semester, wow, that I'm literally hurting God. This is hurting Him. When it came to January, is the new year, and I brought it in with Him. I wanted to make sure that I made Him my main focus. And it's crazy because as soon as I had made that promise, it seemed like everything started to go all crazy. So I graduated in December. After that, I didn't have a job. I'm like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna pay rent? I'm stressing myself out. I'm just depressed. I'm alone. God came at the perfect timing, and then I got a job called to be an instructional aide. And I graduated with a health science degree. So it was crazy. I felt like everything was working out accordingly to God's plan, because when I got that instructional aide position, I had a passion in my heart that made me want to do teaching. I want to inspire kids. I want to motivate kids. I want to move kids. And I wasn't getting paid that much, but I did not care. I put my all into it because I was making a difference, because there was a purpose behind it. I didn't surrender my all to Him, and I had so much time. I felt lonely, and I think that's the perfect season to be alone, when you can really grow through God, and God can use it the way He wants to use you. Things were getting crazy. I was getting phone calls, people threatening my mom and my parents, saying that they're gonna call CPS on my brothers and sisters. I've always had to work for everything I had. I've always had to do everything for myself. It wasn't always given to me. Things were not getting better with my dad. He was getting very sick, and I'm used to him bouncing back. I'm used to him getting better. It was a hard reality to face, knowing that it was getting close to the end. It was hard to accept as well, knowing that, I'm never gonna see him again on this earth. But at that time I was still in my room. I would just lock myself up in my room. I would pray more and ask God to give me the strength, ask God to give me acceptance of this before the opportunity comes, so I can handle it better. And I'm just so thankful for, certain people that uplifted me and was encouraging me. And then also during the summer is when I was taking my classes with Texas teachers for teaching. And then I was supposed to be registering for my content exam. And I'm just like, I kept pushing it back. And my LS Celestine, she was telling me, she felt like I can go through. And I had a couple other people, but some people were just like, you need to stop, just postpone it. And I was close to postponing it, and the only reason that the sign that God sent me, I just knew that was God, because it was the week that my dad passed. But this girl had sent me a message before my dad passed, and the message was basically a message from God, but she sent it to me. Basically, I'm filled with God's grace, and that I'm going to be facing something, And I don't talk to this girl. I don't know her. I know this was nothing but God using me through this So that right there motivated me to take that test. And when I took it, I passed the next day. And then it was a great blessing, but it was hard to accept, knowing with all what was going on with my dad, knowing that he's not here, knowing that my siblings are not going to have a father. And I have like 2 younger brothers, knowing that they want to be in sports or whatever they want to do, they can't, have that father figure there for them. And then, like a week after his funeral, we had got evicted out of our house. And, I'm like, wow, like, I can't take this. Like, how this stuff just happened back to back like this. I thought it was unfair. I'm like, all these other people having good things going on for them, and then it's just this and this, I thought that was the end of it, just my dad passing away. And then, God giving me the grace to pass the exam. But I wasn't ready for the house getting evicted out of our house so soon. And we had to move out. We couldn't take a lot of our stuff with us. But God gave me the strength to keep me going. God gave me the strength to keep me doing these things. When I had to realize at a certain point that if I try to handle all my problems, I'm going to fail. But when you are doing it with God and He's your strength, like, anything is possible for you to get through. So, as I was constantly in prayer, constantly talking to Him, constantly asking Him to give me the guidance, constantly asking Him, what do you want me to do today? Making Him the center. Everything I did was for Him. Everything I did was through Him. Everything was about Him. Even though we were staying with my cousins, we had to stay with my cousins. We were split up. Some was at my cousin, some was at one of my sister's friend's house. My siblings were split up. This is not something you want to go through. You just lose your dad. You just lost your house. I know. And then just thinking about my siblings being in this unstable mindset, it hurts me. And, I never really had time to grieve. That's the crazy thing. Like, I feel like all this stuff is going on. I'm just like, woo, can I breathe? Woo, can I take a break? We didn't have any money. We were just thinking, I'm thinking about like, okay, so how I'm gonna pay for this? How I'm gonna do this? Like, where I'm gonna get the money for this? I don't have any money. I don't have anything. And then one of my other LSs, she had opened an account for us, to basically raise and donate money to help us get a home, or to help us get furniture and all those things back in order and together. And that was just such a beautiful blessing. And I'm just so glad that I chose to open up about my story, because if I wouldn't have chosen not to open up, because I'm always like closed to myself, don't want to tell anyone about my story, don't want anyone to know about my business, because I feel like it's my business. But the main reason why is because I didn't want people to look down on me. I didn't want people to think less of me. But God reaffirmed to me that we already are blessed. It's an inheritance that we walk into, for we are His children. And all you have to do is believe in Him and follow and obey His word, and He will protect you. He will guide you through. And through our weaknesses is when He is strong. When God was telling me, you need to open up. It's time to open up. I opened up, and then, all these miracles and blessings started happening. And I just want people to know that make sure you tell someone your story, because you never know. You don't want to miss out on that blessing. That might be that blessing that God has for you right there. But just because you're too prideful, just because you're too selfish, just because you feel like, oh, I want to keep it to myself, and I don't want people to look down upon me, don't worry about what other people think. It's for God. This is about the glory of God. This is a story. This is His story, and we are working with Him to produce the story. And I had to share and open up. And I'm so glad I did, because now my family, we have a new house, and the kids are so happy to be in a new safe environment. We even had people donate us free furniture. Like, we didn't have to pay anything. Like, God paid this way for me. God paid this way for my family. God made it for me. He wanted me to look after my siblings for this temporary time period. He believed in me that I had the strength to go through this situation. He put me in this situation. This story was all lined up eventually for me because he knew and believed in me that I could handle it. So I'm going to go through this story as if I can handle it and not let just certain temporary things get in my mind frame and mess me up and cause me to keep grieving and cause me to stay there and stick in this mind place when there's so much ahead of me. And if I would have never opened up, if I would have never dug deep, like, I would have missed out on these things and a whole bunch of other things with my siblings and my family. And we're very happy now. We're at peace. It's more peaceful. It's more joy. And you know, I mean, it's hard because our dad's not there to see all the memories going on within us or in the household, but he's in their hearts. He's in my heart. So, and that's just a blessing.
So we're on the way to Crystal's first house where she grew up in.
My mom and dad had a room in the house, and then me and my sister Morrissey had a room in that house. And then it was all the way up to Brandy and Chelsea, and they had a room together as well. The only people here was me and my grandpa. And then like all of a sudden I just started smelling something, and so I was like, oh my god, it smells like smoke. The washing machine dryer, something happened where it exploded and stuff, and he was trying to put it out, and then it kind of just whoosh, and burned him really bad. He like had 3rd-degree burns, and I probably was like 9. A lot of my family here, like this was like the spot.
Nobody worked on it so far.
Yeah, nobody worked on it, but the plan was to get it back because my mom didn't really want to move out of here. But we had to move to our other house because it was burnt down, and we wanted to get it back up and going, but it just never happened. Went to Elkhart Elementary. I was out in Elkhart. I used to love
Those teachers
school.
that taught you back in this school, you know, since it did have such an impact on you.
Yes, I do. I really do. I still remember my teachers from this day. Like, if they were still here, they probably would still remember me too. Cause, like, I mean, I done came here when I got old, and they always remember me, and they're so happy to see how I'm doing and stuff. So, I would love to tell them that I'm a teacher now.
Would you ever think about coming to teach at this school?
Yes, I wouldn't mind.
And we're pulling up to the house that you grew up in your later childhood. It seems like you had a lot of good things that happened here and a lot of bad things that happened here. What is something that happened here that was traumatic?
Well, you know, we was growing up here, and then that's like my high school, I would say probably close to my senior year or so. That's when we found out my dad had cancer. So, you know, that was a big thing. I'll never forget that day. Like, I didn't want to be bothered that day at school or nothing. Definitely took a toll on my mom. So, she was having a real hard time. And after that, just things started going out of order. So, you know.
What's out of order? Like, what in her behavior started to change once your dad got sick?
I mean, she just started to drink more. She started to drink more heavily than she was at first. And that's kind of like for her. I mean, she's been drinking for a while, but that's when it really got bad. And then just caused things to get out of order with her taking care of the kids properly, with her actually, you know, doing her, you know, housewife chores, because she's never had a job in her life. She's never worked in her life. So, you know, it just got out of order, and then the house kind of just got out of order. And the kids got out of order. They weren't getting disciplined properly. And then, like, when I went off to school, like, it was, you know, starting to get a little bad, but it just got worse as soon as I left for school. And then, you know, when I came back home, I was just surprised, like, wow, how, you know, how the house was getting. It was in bad condition. And the kids kind of, you know, supposedly were in homeschool, but they weren't really. homeschooled. They weren't being homeschooled. They were out of school for a while, for like up to 4 years. And, you know, this whole time I'm at school, like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't want people threatening my family stuff, saying they're gonna call CPS and stuff like that. You know, and then when I finally came back home, I just kind of saw like my dad. He was really getting bad. I didn't think he was getting so bad. I mean, I kind of came home back on and off, but I'm used to him getting back better. So the last time I came back home, I saw he was getting worse, and it just got worse, you know. And I'm just like, you know, he's gonna bounce back. He's gonna bounce back, but this time, you know, he didn't bounce back.
Remember, in your testimony interview, you said something about, you know, them coming to your door saying that you guys gotta leave, and so since then you guys haven't been staying here. You guys split up and you guys went to family members' houses and stuff like that. You went on the search to find, you know, a new place to live, but you guys didn't have the funds, and so I know that you mentioned that, you know, people donated money to you guys and you guys end up finding a new home. How was that process?
That was a very, you know, hard thing. I'm just thankful that we had family that really helped us. Like, this experience made me realize how much, you know, people are there for you, like how God uses people as well to help share and work together, like as actually how we're supposed to be working together as a body of Christ. To help people out. Like, sometimes some people are going to be at that loose, and it doesn't mean that they're, you know, not doing the right thing, but sometimes people fall short. It's just a part of their journey, and it's our job, all as believers and Christians, to step up and, you know, when we're at our most, help those at their least, you know. And it's first, it took me a hard time to deal with that, you know, feeling so mean, feeling so, you know, poor, but it's just crazy because, I mean, I've always kind of been poor, and I've never really liked it, but there's nothing wrong with it. That's not the kind of poor, you know, that's the kind of poor that really doesn't matter, you know. Like, I feel like I'm more rich inside just going through this whole experience, and God strengthened me up to get through it, and trying to find houses, you know, being denied some or saying it's too late, and I'm kind of a little worried, and then, you know, pressure of being under someone else's home is never the same, you know. It's always more stressful when you're living under somebody else's home and it's not your house.
So what our viewers want to know is, where's the new house? Can we go to the new house?
Yes, we can go to the new house.
Yay, let's go. So we're back at the third house. New house, new you, new year. So how you like it?
It's fine. It's going well. More peace, better environment. Getting to know my siblings more. We have our moments and our daily battles, but it's all good.
Who go? Crystal be getting on y'all nerves? Yeah. Can you shake your hand one more time for the camera? Oh my gosh. Okay. So, tell me about a praise report, because I heard that you got one. So the viewers need to know.
Well, in December, I started working as a teacher, my first position. So that's been going great for the first month. It's a lot balancing that with this, but God is making it work, and it's getting better.
Okay, so how you like teaching? Like, is it what you expected it to be?
Well, because that's the funny thing, because I never really had teaching experience. So I feel like God is actually blessing me with this teaching experience. And also, I know that I'm there for a greater purpose, but outside of teaching, to dig deeper with my students as well.
So Christmas just passed. How did that go?
It was awesome. It was a blessing. It's basically everything I prayed for. Because of like Thanksgiving, I was like concerned. Well, a little bit before Thanksgiving, I was concerned because I knew the holidays were coming up, and this is going to be our first set of holidays without our dad. you know, I was just trying to make sure that this be the best Christmas ever. And, you know, last Christmas, we really didn't get anything. And then I've been praying about it. You know, God was kind of telling me that, you know, don't worry about Christmas too much. So I stopped worrying, and then like a week afterwards, I started getting phone calls. And then my sister Morrissey, she also was getting some phone calls for people to help donate stuff and emails, you know, for us to send the list of what the kids want and all those things. And then I was working, so I was able to buy stuff as well. So it went very well. We had a lot. They got a lot of stuff. You could ask them. They enjoyed Christmas. It was very touching and a blessing. Guys, like Christmas.
It was good. I had got this marker maker, and you can make markers. You can make a color that you want. So it's like an airplane and a car together. It can fly and jump.
Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Okay.
Now. This is a game.
I mean, PS4, some real chill. Christmas has went by. What can we expect from Crystal this upcoming year? I've seen you go through all of the trials and testimonies. Like, I've seen you, like, blossom at the end of the year, and now we're walking into a new year. What does Crystal expect out of this year?
Well, this year, I honestly expect to spread out to what God did to me, restoring, healing. Like, now I want to help out and reach out to others and restore them.
Right here, you have it, Crystal Monroe, woman of God. She is seeking for a greater purpose, and that's one of the most important things when it comes to inspiring younger women, because they feel like they can't do things. And if you see God in all that you do, He will provide for you. He will lead you to the right path, and you will and you will achieve the destiny He set out before your life. Okay, so Crystal, we got one more praise report that I'm extremely excited about myself, and it's not even me. Tell our viewers.
Yes, so I have finally got a new car. This is the new praise report. This is the new blessing. Grace. Yes. Look at this. She real new too. Look at this. Yes, I literally got this car like in last Saturday, so it's been a full week. Officially a week since I've had my new car, Grace, and it's truly a blessing. And I should have been got my car, and it's funny because God, I was already telling me, go car shopping. Then with my old car, just started like really breaking down. Like my steering wheel started acting crazy, my radio wouldn't work, my bumper fell off. When the moment when my bumper fell off, like all I did was laugh, and that's when God confronted me.
Wait, pause. The bumper fell off.
Yeah.
Where?
I was coming from work, so I was just driving, and then it just randomly fell off.
And so what you do?
I just started laughing. So I was like, oh my God. And I was like, all right, Crystal, how much farther you want me to go? You need to go get this car. I said, okay. So, like, he already had set up on what car he wanted to get and stuff. So, the first place I went to was Chevy. No, they was just being unreasonable. They was talking about, oh, your credit's really bad and too young, and that car you have now, I don't know what we gonna do for you. So I left. So then I went to Hyundai, and then the guy they sold the car to me, he just saw me. He's like, okay, I'm gonna help her right there. Like he already knew me, he wanted to help me. So and then
I wonder how he knew.
I know. So and then he was just asking me questions and, making sure he was getting me what I want. And I was like, I want a new SUV. It has to be able to fit at least 6. Because, my sister, Marcy, she already has her own vehicle and stuff. But at least 6. So, now when he started talking to other people, they were like, oh, she's young, she doesn't have any car experience, no car credit, and then my credit score was bad, and
Okay, so can I stop you right there? So before you even really got in to really just for them to even take a chance on you, they was already telling you no.
Yeah.
What does the enemy do before we, when he
Yeah.
see a blessing coming, he automatically comes in and try to block. And so those, not saying that they were the enemy,
Yeah.
but the enemy knows how
He
to
was
use
trying
people.
to make me feel like, okay, I can't get this car, but I was like, no, I'm gonna get the car I want. They was first like then because he was trying to get me a new car, but they was trying to get me pre-owned. They even showed me cars that weren't 60. So I'm like, no, I need a car that is able to fit all of us. I want a new car, and if y'all can give it to me, then let me know now so I can leave. So then we just started doing all the paperwork and stuff, and then he showed me this car. Did I test drive? And then my stomach was clenching, so I knew God was confirming like, yes, this is it. And then so then it was just the waiting process, and then finally they was like, that's like, this is a tough one. We're working hard. We moving mountains. I'm like, I know this is tough.
Yeah.
So and then they came back finally. It's like, you got approved, and I was like, woo! And everybody was happy for me. I have to name this car Grace because nothing but God's grace. So.
Right. That's the same thing that happened to me whenever it was time for me to get a new car. As soon as I walked in, you're young, your credit score isn't what we need it to be. You just got in a wreck, so that means that you probably are upside down and all this good stuff. And I received that scripture that said God will give us the desires of our heart.
And you helped me out a lot with that too, because I'm like, I can't, you kept saying, no, don't settle. So I made sure I did not settle, because God will come through if you trust Him. Yeah.
But see, that's the thing, that when you walking with God, nothing is impossible for Him. Nothing is too big for Him. And, you don't have to worry about your credit. You don't have to worry about all those other things, because He is the lender. He is your lender. You feel me?
I was laughing at you.
Oh, look. Come here, girl.
What's that?
What's that?
Kim had called Crystal.
Okay, I'll call it that.
So,
And Caitlin too.
So do you like the new car?
Yes.
Yes.
I mainly like the back the most.
Wow. What's in the bag? What y'all be doing? Y'all be cutting up. I know y'all do.
No, that's just the air conditioner.
Okay. Crystal, I just want to say thank you for doing this testimony blog, really sharing your story. A lot of people really wanted to know what happened with you. They wanted to know, what's Crystal doing now? And it's like all these praise reports just shows everyone that God is living and God is working, and He does look after His children. And so, for all those young ladies that's watching, for anybody that's watching, I really strongly encourage you to seek God, seek a relationship with Him, and watch Him go beyond for you. You're His child. He cares about the little things. It's nothing that He won't do for you. I'm a living witness. She's a living witness. Crystal's a living witness. So, thanks for tuning in. I'm Chastity Celestine, and I'm your testimony blogger.
This is our new house.
If you would like to share your story, please email us at contactsos47@gmail.com.